to the silent prayers rising from the basilica. This city beats like a drum, loud, proud, and unyielding. And the drum finds its rhythm right here on Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Adobe no go, nena no de daña na mo kenelo.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region. Where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When politics unfolds, when decisions are made, we reveal the impact. Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, so we thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 17 minutes past 9 a.m. and we are saying welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's the Tuesday edition of this very program, 5th day of May 2026, and it happens to be, should I call it a World Asthma Day, because Asthma Day is marked on the first Tuesday in the month of May, and there is very awareness creation about it, what people can do to stay free, and if you have it, how you can go about to manage that. So we are joining our voice with the voice of other people across the world, other stakeholders, and we are passing the message, saying that in any way you can help to ensure that we get to manage asthma and get to create awareness. Of course, our voice is actually there. So thank you all for always being there with us on this very platform. And this very morning, we have to bring you issues across the nation, because every day we wake up, there are lots of things that develop from the polity, and we get to bring you all these things, whether in the area of politics, governance, and economy. You are guaranteed that you are going to get all of those things on this very platform. The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Franklin Lebek, and this very morning we have a couple of things to let you know that they are in the news. But before then, let's get to bring in Tony Odisambeki, who is on the analysis desk. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Chugwebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in the Anambra. Good morning, in the Onitsha Donido. Good morning, in the Osumo. Good morning, Omonem. Good morning, in the Afia and the Oloyibo, the Nkuzi, the farmers, the entrepreneurs, the private sector employees, and also the employers of labor. the health workers, security personnel, even media practitioners, teachers and educators, traders, everywhere, even students. We appreciate every one of you. I don't want to go deep. Even our pensioners, our senior citizens, legal practitioners, bankers and financial service providers, and also digital creators and freelancers. Every one of you, not forgetting the clergy, the religious and the spiritual leaders, the traditional leaders, even persons with disabilities. They have the best of the abilities, if you ask me. We welcome all of you young and then youths, professionals. You're welcome. Just as Franklin said earlier on, today is World Asthma Day, observed every first Tuesday in May, to raise awareness about asthma and how to manage it better. Remember, asthma is a chronic. When we say chronic, we mean long term. When we say acute, it's usually short term. But when we say chronic, it's a long term something. It's a long term disease of the lungs that affects how someone breathes. Because if you go by the definition of the World Health Organization, asthma happens when the airways, the breathing tubes, become inflamed and narrow. And this makes it difficult for air to move in and out of the lungs. So that's just that. We have many people around us who may be suffering from asthma. Both in healthy person, the pipes are wide open. In someone with asthma, the pipes become swollen and tight. Just as we know very well, today is a day mapped out by the world body for us to raise awareness as far as this is concerned. You're welcome. We thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His goodness. And one good thing, I'm also so recall private schools in Anambra State have started schools on Monday. Is worthy to also give it a mention. Yesterday we saw students, we saw schools open for schooling activities. That's very commendable. We appreciate that. Just as I said earlier on, all glory, honor be unto His name. Thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His love, for all He has been doing for us from time to time. You're welcome. Sit back and enjoy the program.
Okay, so we talked about what asthma there, and you might be wondering why it matters. There is a fact, or there is a truth about asthma, because from the available records, asthma affects over 260 million people worldwide, and from every record, it is responsible for hundreds of thousands of preventable deaths annually. And if you come to places like Africa, or in Nigeria, middle income countries, and we get that vast majority of global asthma occurs in this very area because of lack of availability of high cost of essential inhaled medications. Because we know that people who have asthma, of course, they have to manage that. And what do? They try to stay away from certain areas, like areas with air pollution, dust, pollen, and sometimes they get affected by seasonal changes, the likes of smoke, severe heat waves, and what have you not. So the thing is, like I said, it's all about creating the awareness, and then if you have it, for you to have the information on how to manage it, and then ensure that you get to live your life very healthily. So that's the message this very morning. We thank every one of you for being there. So next, we're going to tell you what is in the news. So this morning, there are some interesting developments that we are going to cover in the papers this very morning. In Anambra State, the governor of Anambra State has made 3 new appointments. They were announced yesterday. Then this very morning, we saw a statement we saw a letter circulating on social media, which was credited to Chief Austin Digwe of Walker, where he has pledged allegiance to the government of Anambra State. So that is in the news. Then talk about the NNPC is also in the news. Talking about a new deal they have signed with 2 Chinese firms on revamping of Warri and Port Harcourt refineries. And people are asking questions: is this going to work this time around, or is that going to be another round of wasting taxpayers' fund? Then NDC in the news, because since Sunday, when OBI and the Kwamboso announced their movement to NDC, we have seen different things coming from different quarters, and different reactions. Of course, we're going to talk about it. Then PDP is also in the news because yesterday, the BOT led by Adolphus Mwabara constituted 13-member interim committee to spearhead or lead the party on interim basis. But the Wike faction is kicking, saying that what the BOT did was just nonsense, null and void. Then in Benue State, there seems to be peace now coming to the political scene because George Akume and Governor Hyacinth Alia seems to have reconciled. There was a meeting on Sunday in Benue State. That meeting was directed by Mr. President, asking Akume to go to his state and reconcile the warring factions. And from what we gathered, they seem to have reached a compromise whereby it was agreed that all political office holders who are currently in position are going to return unopposed. And I'm wondering the kind of democracy that is in Benue State. So if this is anything to go by, what that simply means is that if you have any political ambition in Benue State, you have to rest it because those who are already seated are going to continue. There are other things in the news this very morning you are going to know in the course of bringing you the headlines. Stay with us. Okay, so before the headlines, of course, to let you know that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You can drop your comments on that very page. Go to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Drop your reaction to the issues we are going to raise this very morning. Your name and your location, they are needed. And please, I implore you while writing, make it, comprehensive and comprehensible, so that it will be easy for us to articulate that. Okay, so we thank you for that. So Tony, before we get to the headlines, I don't know if you saw that very should I call that a letter from Chief Austin Digwe of Waka, the man whom they said he has been parading himself as the traditional ruler of Waka. And in that said letter, he pledged allegiance to the governor of Anambra State, or the government of Anambra State, saying that whatever that has been in the social media was not sanctioned by him, that he's not out there to make any trouble, and he's not there parading himself as the traditional ruler of Waka today.
Well, I didn't see any letter. I like being very, very thoughtful on some issues. I did say the other time that there are places, most of the things we are saying will not be tolerated by the chief executive of the state. And I mean no way saying those things. And I have to be very clear to you. The truth remains that there is a matter before a court, as we are told. And that matter has to do with the detriment, the purported detriment of Igwe Gibson Wosu, whether it was rightly done or wrongly done. I don't want to preempt the outcome of the process or the judgment, but we know very well we have Anambra State traditional rulers and chieftaincy matter law. And if you go by the provisions of that very law, you will always dismiss what is before the court. But just like we did say, we would not preempt the court, because any form of detriment that does not involve the state government, I don't know what it means. We are some group of people come together, decide that they for whatever reason, even if they are the kingmakers, they have dethroned one person, and they even have also enthroned one person without the broad and wide consultation of the people. But if you look at the enthronement process and the dethronement process, well spelled out in the chieftaincy law of Anambra State, these things were not followed. In fact, it was not even in any way fractionally followed, or substantially followed, or marginally followed. So you find out that these adjectives did not even fall in line to any of the things they did. Would one say that what they did was pure kangaroo? That was in 2017. And even at that, there is this delay tactics to store the court processes so that you parade yourself. And I've said it the other time, that if I were the governor, I will not allow this rubbish to fester in the state. But I said it before now. He has come out to say, from what you read, because I did not see the letter, from what you read, he has come out to say that he has pledged allegiance. he should pledge allegiance to Igwe Gibson Wosu. Yes, we know very well that he has no option than to pledge allegiance to the government of Anambra State. We have one government. We don't have two governments. But the issue is he should pledge allegiance to Igwe Gibson Wosu. The man is, I think, 90-something years. I'm not praying for his death. But if God decides that in your own time you will be the king, why not? Why not? The point is, there are some causes you must allow to go on naturally. You don't need to, because there are so many adages. The point I'm trying to make is, last I spoke about this, I said the governor has been magnanimous. That was the language I used. He has been magnanimous to accept some of the things going on. There are some states this will not happen.
Okay, so if you check the social media page of Mazi Mofopora, who happens to be the spokesperson of APGA, and in the past first term of Anambra governor, he was the SA to the governor on social media. Yes. You will see this very letter there on that very page, and the title is Rebuttal and Disclaimer of Alleged Publications. You know, it's dated 27th April 2026. I'm just going to read the last part of it. It says, I remain committed to the peace, progress of Awka, and in total support of the efforts of Anambra State Government in providing democratic dividends to Awka, the state capital. Signed, also Dr. Austin Ndigwe, JP, Akaji of Awka. So this is what we have.
So he has not answered Ozo, not Igwe. Well, I'm also Ozo, you know now. I know, but that's true. I'm also an Ozo. I'm an Ozo titled person in my hometown, but I can't claim to be Igwe. That's the truth. And you know, when you are an initiate of such title, your tongue is washed to proclaim it. I don't know if that is being kept by so many other title holders. I'm an Ozo title holder, so I know what that means.
Okay, so we're going to go to the headlines now, so we ask you to stay with us as we ride on now.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so you listen to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM, 9:32 a.m. And my name is Franklin Ebuka. So let's get to see the headlines we have on the 4 newspapers before this very morning. Vanguard is on the card, Daily Sun, The Punch, and The Guardian newspaper. So let's begin with the headlines we have on Vanguard. The big story there says registration, Dixon kicks as Ado vows court action, faults INEC on NDC. The story is on page 5. It has riders. NDC claims 10 million members enrolled in 48 hours. Hold state congresses. ADC, Atiku scam, deny the faction talks with NDC. This one says xenophobia, FG demands probe into killing of Nigerians in South Africa. That's on page 9 of the paper. CSO's lawyer demand action against perpetrators on page 8. Another headline here says Akume brokers peace in Benue APC ends months of crisis on page 29. Chinese firms to operate Warri Port Harcourt Refineries, NNPC on page 19. 16 killed in attacks on Castina Plateau communities on page 7. Video, plotters admit to planning coup against Tinubu in court on page 8. 2027 PDP crisis deepens as rival blocs claim control on page 8 of Vanguard newspaper. So let's cross over to the next headline, or rather the next paper, which is Daily Sun. And the headline beside the nameplate says PDP crisis, weakest scam fumes as Makinde seeks INEC recognition for interim NWC on page 6. Banks explain 10% FX savings tax amid customer uproar. Obi Kwankwaso face crisis as Ada founder plans legal action. Omar Rado to challenge registration of party on page 6 of Daily Sun. Xenophobic attacks, FG South African envoy meet on page 6. Warri, world crisis, we will resist INEC conduct of election with our blood, Ijo Urobo on page 27. Yes, there's also somewhere that Omogege has left, APC founder party because he wants to contest for governorship in Davao State. I don't know how, all these big power brokers, why they find it difficult to be in one political party, especially when governors have been given that very control of the party. Because in Delta now, certainly Sheriff Warri is in control of the party structure, and he might work in tandem with former governor, and this time around he might have been schemed out of this whole thing. NNPC, Chinese partners seal deal to revive PHC, Warri Refineries, boost petrochemical output on page 2. Ex-Minister Najidam's APC for PDP may declare for Enugu on page 29. Okay, we move to the Punch. The headlines above the nameplate, 3 of them: xenophobia, FG seek justice for slain Nigerians on page 7. Coup, defendants admit knowledge or plot in video evidence on page 7. FG loans 11.8 billion naira to 6,842 tertiary institution workers. The story is on page 28. NNPC signs deal to revamp Warri PH Refineries on page 22. APC consensus coup. Governors tighten grip on Senate tickets, displays incumbents on page 2. It has riders. Uzodinma Senate endorsement triggers outrage in Imo. Abiodun Bwenga Daniel clash as Ogun East ticket battle deepens. Let me contest ex-governor Ayade begs Tinubu amid ticket row. I saw his statement yesterday, and I didn't see his big English, no. Those Olympomatic meristasis and code that he used to use in his budget. I didn't see that yesterday. Somebody who was just lamenting how, they have been schemed out because they want to respect Mr. President. Okay, another headline says, we KPDP bloc reject Makinde's interim NWC primary scheduled. Page 27. State autonomy ruling retain 1.46 trillion naira local government funds. On page 21, on ending problem. Soldiers assault the cable journalist in Lagos traffic altercation. On page 2, we saw the video yesterday, but that happened actually on Sunday. And journalists said that he was passing across one area and saw how soldiers were punishing a keke rider who drove recklessly. So they asked him to stop and climb on top of his keke. So in the course of doing that, it was causing traffic. So while the guy was passing, he just told them that what they were doing was causing traffic, and that was the trouble for him. That was how the assault started. And we thank God that people actually came to rescue the guy, because they were almost using big stick on him to hit him. And this one says, hantavirus scared. WHO report 3 deaths. Launches emergency response. That story is on page 26 of Punch newspaper. Then the last paper we have here is The Guardian. The big story says APC consensus fuels tension, political realignment nationwide on page 6. Concerns over non-disclosure of signed 2026 budget details on page 22. I do not know actually if there's anything fishy about the budget. One is that the way it was passed, nobody knew about the passage. The next thing we heard was that it had been signed into law by the president. And then there's a report claiming that the contents are concealed as we speak. NESO denies responsibility for banks' woes on page 36. NNPC seals fresh deal to revamp Port Harcourt Warri Refineries after $2.4 billion term on page 5. Grand handlers issue final 32 hours notice to airlines over 9 billion debt on page 5. Poor diagnosis, soaring inhaler cost, pollution trigger deadly asthma surge. The story is on page 6. Of course, this headline links it to the World Asthma Day that is being celebrated today across the world. Nasu Sanu protest, short UI gate, disrupt activities at ABU Unilorin, page 7. I think we have to retake this. Nasu Sanu protest, short UI gates, disrupt activities at ABU Unilorin on page 7. Of course, these guys are protesting a government initiative, saying that it wasn't a government policy. They are saying that it wasn't arrived at by collective bargaining, and that's why they want government to reverse that very policy. And this headline says PDP disowns 103rd NEC meeting, declares Wabara Turaki claim void on page 3. FG 6 probe of killings in South Africa as envoy absorbs government on page 3. Obedient movement faithful flood NDC within hours of Obi's move on page 3. 2 suspects admit knowledge of plot to overthrow Tinubu on page 3. So these are the headlines we have on the front pages of these very papers. And next will be for us to bring you the analysis of all these issues. Stay with us. Okay, so you are listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and this is the Polity. My name is Frank Nebuka, and the Tony Olisambeki is on the analysis desk. We'll begin with what happened yesterday, which got so much attention in Nigeria because there were 2 cases yesterday at 2 different places regarding people's freedom of expression. In Abuja, we saw an influencer who was arraigned in court by DSS. And why was he arraigned in court? He was arraigned in court because he circulated an interview that was granted by some soldiers where they claimed that they were facing poor welfare. Now, who was the guy who was arraigned yesterday? I'm talking about Justice Chidebere, who is popularly known as Justice Crack. He was yesterday arraigned before a federal high court in Abuja. And after the arraignment, he was kept in the custody of the DSS over alleged cybercrime-related offenses. He was arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on cybercrime, breach of public peace, and felony. And during his arraignment, he pleaded not guilty. But what we saw yesterday was we saw a group of people who were protesting against his arraignment. Some persons who were crying. At the point, they had to barricade DSS, trying to stop them from taking this guy into custody. Now, what was this guy's offense? His offense was the fact that, being an influencer, he shared a social media post on the welfare of Nigerian soldiers. People who know Chidebere, of course, they know him for his commentary on public affairs. So there was a video that he shared in April. In that very video, some soldiers complained about poor feeding and treatment in conflict area, and that sparked widespread condemnation. Asking questions about why soldiers should be treated in that very way, and that was why he was picked up by the military and handed over to DSS. Yesterday, he was arraigned. We also read about the young man, 18-year-old guy, who was also picked up by the police because of the complaint lodged by Tony Elumelu. The young man shared a post which was alleging that Tony Elumelu divorced from the wife, and it happens to be false, and that guy was picked up. That same yesterday, Joy Ezeugu, a former student of Ezi Health Center in Enugu, was released from detention at the police headquarters. Yesterday, she was taken to police headquarters. Then after questioning, she was released. Her offense was about what happened, I think that should be about going to 2 months now, when she raised a concern about the bad state of Warri General Hospital. We know how that very one happened. She was suspended, but the government came to, attend to the concern she raised about that very hospital. But the fact is that the provost of the college had not rested. We learned that the provost told her to pull down the post, and she leaked the audio. So it was like when they're having the conversation, she recorded that and leaked it to the media. And from there, the woman now filed a charge against her. I think they're demanding about 10 million naira. And police picked her up, took her to Abuja. People were also raising concern yesterday. And what they're asking is Nigeria now getting into, repressive point whereby the civic space is not being shrunk, and whatever you say, the police can use a cybercrime act to charge you for cyberbullying, Tony?
Well, I saw a lot of viral videos yesterday on that very issue, and we witnessed the chant when he was accosted by DSS to their office, when he was remanded by the trial judge to DSS custody, and we saw how many people were chanting "Free Justice Mark, Fury, Chidebere," and so many things they said. And I've also taken the time to look at a piece written by one military civil expert, somebody who said that he's an expert when it comes to military civil relationship, and quite a lot of pieces he wrote and all that. Everything for me should border on law. Yes, there are times we would think that our actions could cause this, could cause that, but what takes precedent is law. Law takes precedent, and then every other thing comes second. We have got so many laws we have to look into, and most times we have to be very privy of these laws. Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act 2015 Prevention and Prohibition has been so much debated because it gives states wild powers to crack down on dissenters for one reason or the other. And many people have said that Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act should be amended. But before we go into that, you mentioned the man in question, Chidebere Mark, popularly known as Justice Crack, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's known for. What did he do? He was able to engage some soldiers, maybe disgruntled anyway, where they related their ordeal, the experience, meted out to them while serving Nigeria. And it borders on issue of poor feeding, allowance, logistics, and what have you. And we know very well that the Nigerian military, they are prosecuting a lot of wars, and these warfares are guerrilla warfares. You have Boko Haram, you have ISWAP, you also have banditry, kidnappings, and what have you. And the extremism in some southeastern part of the country. These are different kinds of operations. Of course, you hear Operation Hadinkai, Operation this, Operation that, Operation Safe Corridor, and so many operations they have embarked upon. And they believe that what Justice Crack posted could demoralize soldiers, that's one, incite soldiers against their commanders, two, and probably bring discontent among these soldiers. And they felt that if such exists, there are channels available to ventilate this as against posting it on social media when you know that the country is facing serious challenges on different fronts, that national security overrides any impunity or any act of corrupt practices. That's their thoughts. But the young man, who is also into content creation, who is into media, believes that the commanders are to be held accountable. That you are a commander of any operation does not confer on you the monopoly to use state funds the way you want, without apportioning it the way you have been mandated to apportion them. And the case of where these soldiers who are already demoralized, because you are saying that their content could demoralize these soldiers, that these soldiers, they are disgruntled, these soldiers, they are, of course, they feel discontent about the whole thing. They are already disgruntled, demoralized, and many of them are leaving the service for one reason or the other. But the young man went on social media to cast this aspersion, and they felt that it was offensive, that it could cause more harm. The military, what they did was to pick him up. They arrested him and handed him over to civilian authorities, DSX. And of course, DSS arraigned him yesterday before a federal high court. And the 3 counts borders, I think the first one has to do with cybercrime, and the other one has to do with a conduct likely to bring about breach of public peace and other things they stated. These were some of the things they stated.
So Tony, what this very young man did, did he in any way go against any known law or code in the country? Because what he did was perhaps to interview the disgruntled soldiers or soldiers who felt bad about the way they were treated. He interviewed them and posted the outcome of the interview. It's not that he didn't say it himself, not that soldiers said and he posted. So did he break any known law in the country?
Well, for me, I'm yet to ascertain the law he has broken. I'm yet to ascertain, because what I've done so far was to go through different precedents, satire decisives, and I've also gone through some checks, and I'm yet to ascertain any law he has broken. Because if you look at the 3 counts, count 1 borders on cyber crime, that is false information. And if you look at that very section 24 of the cyber crime we have talked about here so much, that I said earlier on that is being debated. In fact, many people felt that should be amended because it gives the state broader power. And then that section 24, if I'm to quote that section 24 talks about, when you make a false, any person who knowingly or intentionally sends a message or other matter by means of computer systems or network that is grossly offensive, pornographic, indecent, obscene, or causes annoyance, inconvenience, danger, insult, injury, criminal intimidation, hatred, or needless anxiety, commits an offense. You see how broad this is. That's why many people are saying, no, it's so broad. Where would we begin? But the bottom line, the common denomination to all these things is, if that message is said to be false, and it's for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger, insult, or ill will, if you post any message that is true, these things will not count, whether it causes annoyance, insult, danger, or any form of hatred, inconvenience, obscene. If it is true, these things will not count. But where these things count is if it is false. Sending message to be false for the purpose of.
So Tony, this issue in focus now, talking about the matter involving this justice crack.
Yeah.
I do not know if the military has been able to debunk the claim made by soldiers in that very video, because the soldiers who made the claims in the video, they were also arrested. So their own case is being handled internally according to military procedure.
Yeah, of course, court martial.
So if the military has refuted or debunked their claim that soldiers are not taking care, are not well taken care of the way they claim, if that has been debunked, I do not know. So can we put it out there to say that what was contained in the claim that the guy shared is false?
The thing is, it is before a court of competent jurisdiction. If findings will be made, but if what a guy posted is actually true, he'll be freed by court. Because I've talked about count 1. But that borders on cybercrime, section 24. And I said those things will only count if the message is proven to be false. But if it's proven not to be false, those things will not count. But let's look at count 2. Breach of public peace. That he allegedly published a video and statement that generated negative reactions likely to cause fear and breach of peace. They have to prove that. How is that message likely to cause breach of peace? Because I was saying that has demoralized some soldiers who are already in the military. Many of them are disgruntled and inciting them against their commanders. That has to be proven. And then also attempt to commit felony. That he was accused of publishing derogatory content about the Nigerian army, content capable of inciting public unrest. That's the country. And of course, that is false under provisions of the Criminal Code Act. And if you look at the count 2, also falls within the purview of Criminal Code Act. And then count 1 has to do with section 24, subsection 1B of the Cybercrime Act of 2015, Prohibition Prevention. My concern is these things must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. They are the prosecution. They are the one prosecuting this. And they are the one, the all news is on them, because we have said it many times, all news propandi in could be equi this, not equi negative.
So it appears as if authorities are so much concerned about, controlling narrative or dealing with the symptoms rather than addressing the issues. for anybody who has been following development in Nigeria, this is not the very first time that we have heard soldiers or even policemen talk about, poor welfare. It's not an unknown thing. It's out there. In fact, there are some persons who have retired from the military that when you even talk to them, they will share experiences with you, and they will tell you the things they pass through. And then recently, there was also a dismissed soldier or retired soldier who went on a podcast and repeated what is out there now. But his own case was the fact that he was already out of the system, so nobody could hold him responsible for what he said. So this issue of trying to control narrative, other than finding a way to address what the main issue is, because let's be honest, if we provide for the welfare of our security operatives or security agencies, would there be ground for people to begin to speculate whether people are taken care of or not?
Well, for me, we have two issues here. We have the substance, we have the smoke. Or we have the substance, we have the shadow. We have been chasing shadow, leaving the substance. And if you ask the military, they will tell you that their doors are open. They have channels that one can raise this concern as against going public. That's the military. They're not saying that they're immune from being investigated, immune from being looked into. That to fight any form of war, you have psychological warfare, and you have emotional warfare, and you also have the physical warfare. These things are tied together. That statements capable of undermining the psychological warfare effects or emotional warfare would also affect the physical warfare. That's the military. But we are talking about the law. That's what we are concerned about. And you ask the important question, has this young man breached any law? From what we are told, he wasn't the one making those statements. He was interviewing the soldiers, and these soldiers were the one making these statements. So what offense has he committed for interviewing these people? Okay, the offense could be that he posted what he has generated from these soldiers. The point I've made here is this. If you look at our laws, that section I mentioned earlier on, section 24, borders on falsehood. When you know that these things are false, but you go on to do it to cause hatred, to cause anger, to cause, all these things mentioned. If you also look at the criminal code, and I'm very much pretty sure that even section 59 of the Criminal Code Act borders on false statements and rumors, that when a person publishes any statement, rumor, or report which is likely to cause fear and alarm the public or disturb the peace, knowing or having reason to believe it is false, falsehood again. Now, the major thing these people have to prove is that what this young man has posted is not false. That is where the law will hold him. But if what he has posted is proven to be true, probably they may leave the count 1 and count 2 and possibly run to count 3 that talks about conduct likely to cause breach of peace. If you go to section 249 and also section 249D, it talks about any person who behaves in a manner likely to provoke a breach of the peace commit an offense. But in this case, you must situate it, you must contextualize it. The onus lies on the prosecution. But you talked about something about repression. Does it mean that Nigerians cannot hold our leaders, institutions, agencies accountable, owing to the fact that they have proven not to be held accountable? There was a woman that reviewed a book. Was it last week?
Yes,
and that book was something that her child uses in school, where a portion of that book reads that the dog was this, the dog was that, and before you know it, the dog burned the hands, and the woman felt that the child shouldn't be reading this because that book contains some violent acts, and she reviewed it on social media. Guess what? The owner of the book sent police because he wrote petition to the police, and once that petition was written, what the police did was to go after her, and the woman was saying that she has been harangued, and a lot of threats coming from different corners. Even the school told her that she will see me, and she was calling on Nigerians to save. Of course, the Tasha Dwagan took up that, and before you know it, Inyebong also took up that, and many lawyers came to her rescue. Does it mean that somebody cannot have a review of any product or service online And what happens to the Consumer Protection Act we have in this country? There's a lot we need to talk about, because when we are talking about the military, the police, individuals are also part of the whole crack on freedom of expression. The grand norm, if you go to the Constitution, I have said it many times, has to do with freedom of expression. And that can only be contained by a law done or made in a democratic society. That is the only, because if you go by provisions of Section 45, it is well written there. The point I'm trying to make is I'm seeing repression of freedom of speech. It is very common. Section 39 guarantees freedom of expression. Just like I said that it can only be restricted for public safety, public order, and national security. That is the meaning of provisions we have under Section 45 of the 1999 Constitution. But at the same time, those who are doing content should also be privy of our laws. There are things that you may not go on to say if there is any prevailing law that restrict that. And that law that restrict that could be in area of safety, security, and national security and public order, as I've mentioned earlier on.
Okay, so Tony, I'm going to cite this very background before we get to the next question, because still on this same thing. If we're going to do a review of the things that have happened in the past 1 month or 2 months, you say that there are about maybe 6 Nigerians who are under this kind of web now.
Yeah.
You mentioned the woman who reviewed a book, and guess what? Lagos State government said that the book in question was not approved by the state government to be used in school. They talk about the woman who also reviewed a certain loaf of bread that she kept in her shop. We know how police was also used to arrest her, and she was kept in the dark before people came to her rescue in midnight, thanks to Barrister Effiong, Inibehe, and co. Then we now have the case of this Justice Crack. We also have other cases that have been mentioned where people, they've spoken about certain things, the way they feel about certain things, whether they are true or not. But in most cases, there seems to be substance in what they said. Let me make reference to the one that happened in Enugu State. The nursing student who was suspended. She raised the alarm about the deplorable set of infrastructure facility at a certain health care center in Enugu. And guess what? She was suspended. We know the story. She was suspended. But now, when we thought that ended, somebody has filed a 10 million naira suit against her, and police arrested her, and she was taken to police headquarters in Abuja yesterday before people now intervened, and she was released. I know that Wako is involved in that very case now. So the thing now is, if you look at this very cybercrime law, because most of them are being charged under this cybercrime law, is it that this cybercrime law is now a weapon fashioned against Nigerians, where the establishment, the elite, the well-to-dos can now exploit and oppress the masses?
If not for the Cybercrime Act, which is more like a statute, because if there is any perceived violation of such, it's expected of the police to conduct diligent investigation and make proper arrangements. That one settled. But what we have these days is that if somebody goes on to make a valid review of a product or of a service online, usually Facebook and some of these social media apps, the next will be somebody will write a petition to the police alleging violation of Section 24 of Cybercrime Act of 2015, Prevention and Prohibition. The next police will jump into arrest. That is, for me, is totally wrong. You know what? Because if somebody comes up with petition, yes, police can invite the person to hear the person's side as part of investigation. But most times, invitation of police is usually arrest. That is unprofessionalism. I have listened to debates because during police investigation, they can invite. Do you know that apart from invitation, police can visit you and take statement from you? When would this happen in this country? But police believe that if they visit you to take statement from you, you will have the next they come, you will not be around. Or you will just, or once you hear they are coming, you will just run to nowhere. That's why they do invite, because there is loss of public confidence and trust on our police. Ordinarily, in most crimes, when somebody brings petition, police most times may not invite if it is not a serious crime. Police go to your house, take your statements as part of the investigation, and you also have to oblige them that anytime they call on you, you can also answer, when can we have such kind of policing system? But that's by the way. But they can invite you as part of investigation, not in a way to arrest or detain you. Because I have listened to people, they say that each time, if police invite you 10 times, they will arrest you 8 times. But there are times I've seen them invite people without arresting them. They just take their statement and ask them to go. I've seen such situation. But how many times have we seen that? The point I'm trying to make here is this. Our laws are bastardized, not diligently followed. And that section 24 borders on falsehood. If you know that what you have published or what you are saying or what you are posting online is believed to be false, with attendant intention on the current days to cause annoyance, to cause hatred, to insult, and some other things stated there. But the truth remains that that cannot override the Constitution, which has given us freedom of speech under Section 39. But we know that the Cybercrime Act and even the Criminal Code, as we mentioned, these things falls under Section 45, that the state can also make laws to regulate some of these things in the interest of public order, public safety, and national security, as I've stated before. The point is, the repression is too much for Nigerians to bear. And the state actors, many of them have not been following what the law provides diligently as it should be.
Okay, so let's go to non-politics because what is out there is the defection of P2B and the Rabi Kwankwaso to NDC, and we are seeing different reactions. In fact, between that very Sunday and now, virtually everything political has been around NDC, and what we have now is that a fresh trouble seems to be looming for P2B and Rabi Kwankwaso, as the promoter of All Democratic Alliance ADA, Dr. Marado, has vowed to challenge the registration of Nigeria Democratic Congress NDC in court. According to the report, that he is accusing INEC of irregularities in the registration of NDC. In fact, he was on a particular media platform where he talked about that, saying that he's going to go to court to challenge. According to him, that he first filed for registration of ADA, but INEC ignored his application, went for NDC and what have you not. According to him, INEC did not follow the procedure, that NDC did not meet all the requirements needed to be registered as a political party. And some people are thinking that it's a fresh crisis for NDC and P2B. So Tony, let's start from there. Do you see that as a crisis?
Well, for me, ADO has no local standard to institute that case. You went for ADA, and INEC did not register ADA, and you felt that, oh, the next party INEC registered did not fulfill necessary requirements. You forgot to understand that INEC stated that they were ordered by courts, and the Nigerian Democratic Congress we are talking about, they made first application in 2017. That was the first time they applied to be registered as a political party. Before then, there had been political association. INEC did not register them. At a point in 2025, INEC raised issue of logo when they revisited applications. They told them, just like we explained yesterday, that your logo bears resemblance of APC's gesture of 2 fingers in the air. And they said no. They even pleaded to INEC, allow us to change the logo. They pleaded. INEC said no, that you have been disqualified without any chance to even change the logo. Because from the report I reviewed, they pleaded with INEC to allow them to change that very logo, if that be the case, so for them to be registered. But INEC said no, you've been disqualified automatically. They then took INEC to court, and the court made a ruling. Court gave INEC order of mandamus. They must And that was what INEC did. Secondly, if you look at the second political party that they were registered alongside with, DLA, Democratic Leadership Alliance. On the case of Democratic Leadership Alliance, court also gave INEC order to get them registered because they took INEC to court as well. They took INEC to court. And Federal High Court ruled on their behalf that INEC should register them because they went to court on the ground that they have met all requirements. And they see no reason why INEC should not get them registered. And of course, court ruled on their favor. These two political parties were the two political parties INEC registered sometime on February 2026, DLA and NDC. Now, what is the grounds of ADO? That ADA, I don't know when they made their first application, I don't know when they applied, that ADA was not registered. He did not also remember that the two INEC registered were compelled by courts. And INEC felt no reason to appeal the judgment of the Federal High Court that they were not registered on INEC's volution. No, they were not. So he should understand the ground, the context.
So you think there is no crisis anywhere, right?
There is, because...
So what do you think that ADO is trying to do? Is it trying to cut attention, trying to cut sponsorship? Is he trying to cut settlement? What do you think he's trying to do?
That is what is trending anyway. It started with Lamida Papa. When Lamida Papa from nowhere became popular. From Lamida Papa, we saw Julius Abure. Even when Julius Abure was not known. From Julius Abure, we saw Nafi Balagombe. And now we are back to Ado. I don't know if you say whether he's cutting attention or looking for settlement or looking for this or looking for that, but he says he wants to challenge that.
Because, Ado was part of the proponent of a coalition. At that point in time, he was proposing, he said that they look for an existing party to go into or register a new party. At the point in time, he said it would be better for them to register a new party to avoid any kind of crisis within the existing ones. Eventually, the coalition people chose ADC, and he went on with his other registration. At the end of the day, one or two things happened, and he couldn't get to the final destination. So at this point in time, what do you think he's doing?
Well, for the attention he has got, before now, many people don't even know him, but he has got that. But I have said, I don't see correlation in this year battle. I think he should be concerned about ADA. Take INEC to court why ADA was not registered. That should be the first thing he should do. You are pushing for registration of ADA, and INEC was compelled by court to register another one. Just like DLA did, they did not start fighting INEC for registering political parties. They went to court to challenge INEC for not registering them. I thought that his main objective would be for ADA to be registered. And for that, he has to take INEC to court and argue his own case. Present every evidence before the court. If court feels that you have met all the requirements, the court will compel INEC to register ADA. But time is passing. For me, you are taking a battle that is not yours. I don't see the correlation.
All right, so let's talk about Sona's reaction, because ADC has officially spoken, because the national spokesperson of ADC, and talking about Bolaji Abdullahi, yesterday was on TV, and the questions regarding the defection of P2B came up, and he made some statements. He said that actually it is a setback for ADC, but it's not a fatal blow to the party's 2027 ambition. Now, he said personally that he was unhappy with the fact that the two of them left, but to him, he felt that it was also a measure of relief. According to him, maybe somebody can put it in the realm of, good riddance to bad rubbish, because according to him, the two men were bringing some kind of pressure within the party, and he's saying that now they have left, that ADC is now going to focus on, trying to deal with what they're dealing with, prepare for their primaries and prepare for the election. Now, there's another thing I would like to point out that he said. He said that Obi opted for NDC because he cannot survive in a competitive political coalition that requires negotiation and compromise. According to him, what Obi wanted was, give me the ticket on a platter of gold and let me go and contest.
Well, anybody can feel anything. There are those that says that it is my turn. After all, our president says it is his own turn. And many argued against that. And he said, I put you here, I put you here, I put you here, I put you here. It is not my turn. If not him, if not for Tinubu, Buhari wouldn't have become president. In fact, he was the one that single-handedly nominated Oshibanjo. He had wanted to become a running mate, but it was discussed in some part that if you can use Muslim tickets to take over from a ruling party, that will be a bad market. That was why he soft-pedaled. And there was a time he was in Ogun State, and he told Abiodun Dapo, I put you, I made you governor. And there was a time he was in some other parts of southwestern state. He was telling the governors, I made you governor, I made you governor, I made you governor, I made you president. It is now his turn. That is why we have this issue of Emilokon. And it is his own entitlement. Nigerians were like, when has presidency or the office of the president become somebody's turn? You can argue that to eternity. That's what he feels. And it was on that very cruise that he got there. That is one. And if Obi feels that probably he doesn't want contestation at primaries.
Do you think he wanted?
I don't know. From the look of things, he has not stood any.
From his trajectory, do you think he avoids contest?
From trajectory, he has not. He has not. I don't know the reason. He has not fixed strong primaries. Even while he was the governor of Anambra State, he was through consensus. He was made the candidate of ABGA.
I mean, his first time?
His first time.
How?
Because I have listened to the story. When ABGA was registered in 2002, yes. When ABGA was registered in 2002. Of course, he met likes of Victor May. He was a neophyte. He was a new initiate. He was not even a politician. He came and met some politicians on ground who had left PDP at that time to form ABGA. And he was taken to Dim Chukwemeka or the Mego Juku. After so much sermon, after so much briefing and all that, Ojukwu adopted him. Ojukwu took him. Ojukwu took him round. Ojukwu told ABGA, because Ojukwu was the national leader of ABGA at that time. And even at that time, remember, Chekwa Sokoro was the national chairman of the party. And they brought Ojukwu to be the national leader to give the party a prominence. So what happened? He was taken round. Ojukwu adopted him. It was more like a consensus, because there were others that they wanted to contest. They were asked and passed to allow him to go. I could recall, even during the second term, it was his right of first refusal, as we have in other political parties. Because once he was the national leader of the party, as at that time. So he had right of first refusal, which was according to him in what we've seen in other political parties. It was more like a cultural thing, a traditional thing. Then when he was to hand over, he made sure that some that could have competed with Oyinlo Obiano were disqualified. Yes, Obiano came to consensus, more like Soludo was disqualified after being also asked to join the race, and other things that happened. And we saw the trajectory, and then in 2019, Atiku faced primaries, picked him as a running mate. In 2023, what happened? When PDP could not zone to southeast, he had urged PDP to zone to south, and even microzone to southeast to allow him chance. What happened? And when PDP tweets open, he left the party. That they did not abide by their zoning principle. He left the party and moved to Labour Party, where Pat Otomi before then had become the candidate of Labour Party, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Pat Otomi. But when he came, Pat stepped aside. Pat Otomi stepped aside and handed him the ticket on a platter. He served him the ticket a la carte. And we are back again in 2026, prior to 2027. He has left ADC that would have given him that space to face strong primaries for the first time. But he felt that they were not.
So in essence, are you saying that what Abdullahi said is the obvious?
What did he say?
that he's afraid of contestation.
I wouldn't say whether he's afraid or not. I wouldn't say. But I say that from trajectory, he had not faced a strong primaries. That's the point I'm saying. Whether he's afraid or not, I cannot butcher that. I'm just saying, based on facts, my own story, not facts.
Now, is it that he doesn't trust the system that he's part of, or it's about his personality?
I wouldn't know. He should be the person in the best position to answer this question.
Now, let's listen to his running mate in 2023, talking about Dati Baba Ahmed, where because yesterday he spoke, he said that that Obi should avoid 2027 if he lacks the resolve to confront challenges within party structures. Let's listen to him and then take up this very conversation further.
As much as I don't believe in, I dislike what APC has been doing against Nigeria. But then someone who got Labour Party ticket so easily should have stayed to fix the problems of Labour Party, however difficult they were. I stood and I earned the wrath of many because I said, come and reconcile in Labour Party. Only for me to read it, and to even view it in the news. Here's my former leader, my boss, whom I believed in so much, saying that wherever there's a quarrel, he will walk away. So there's a quarrel in Nigeria. You'll walk away? And these are things that don't add up. These are things that don't add up. A leader must be firm. However gentle you are as a leader, you must be willing to fight. Where is the first place you fight as a leader? When they are going to steal your victory, you don't allow it to happen in 2023. Clear constitutional breach. They left only one person, me, fighting the constitutional breach. Only one person. Nobody spoke about the constitutional breach. Only me. You don't do that. You stop. You must fight at that point. If you're not ready to fight, don't even come out. Stay in your house. You're going into politics, which is a contact sport. In a country like Nigeria that is so diverse, so heated, and you don't want to quarrel or you don't want to argue, then this is not your game.
So, Tony, you heard Dati Baba Ahmed that if you are going into politics in Nigeria, you don't want to quarrel, you don't want to argue, you don't want to compete, you don't want to compromise, you shouldn't be in the game.
Well, everybody has his own style of politics. There are those that believe in dialogue. There are those that believe in confrontation. There are those that believe I no go agree. And there are also those that believe that if elections were rigged, baboons and monkeys will be soaking blood. There were also those that believe that if these elections were rigged, we are going to form parallel government. It's a different notions for different people. So everybody has what he believes. But there are those who believe that you can get this by dialogue. But we've not seen those who through dialogue get whatever they want in Nigeria. But we've seen those who through either court cases, agitation. But mind you, for sure, we've seen confrontations. But I believe probably if it is online attack, that's the one we have on social media, by all these hauling of insults and what have you. Probably, I don't know, it may not be that type. But if it is going to court, I will see him going to court to challenge certain things.
So Tony, is it possible that somebody who stays out of political troubles can bring about change in the way we have arranged our party system in Nigeria?
Well, we have put some institutions to work. If you look at Anambra State now, I'm going to use Anambra State as a case study. We've seen Okite people, fake DBS. They have been shown exit door. First and foremost, it started by strengthening the institutions that go after these very people and also strengthening the law.
So
you don't need to quarrel.
Where do you strengthen from? From within or from outside?
You first and foremost start within. I'm just trying to let you know, the states, of course, there is no place, there is no crime. But first and foremost, here in the states, you've seen it's not by quarrel. I was saying the other time, if you like insult the governor, haul any insult, he's not going to. If he has space, maybe during an event, he will make a statement on that, and everybody will laugh over it. But what he does is to strengthen institutions and strengthen the laws, and let the institutions work. It's not about quarreling. It's not about fighting. We just finished talking about a particular also title holder who was parading himself as Iwe. And we saw a letter he submitted to the governor, pledging allegiance. What does that tell you? And I said that he was allowed to do all these things for a very long time. But over time, he felt that probably he has to toe this road. It's a case of strengthening institutions. You don't need to quarrel. No. You don't need to fight.
Now, on a final note on this very issue, not because we don't have other questions, because we want to manage our time. Okay. The ADC spokesman said it's not a fatal blow for their
ambition.
Yes, for 2027. Do you think there's anything left in the ADC with the exit of OB and the Rabi Kwankwaso?
I wouldn't say there is nothing left. Because if we say there is nothing left, it will be to discredit the likes of Atiku and possibly even Amechi. But you ask, the weight they had before, do they still have that weight? That's the question. I wouldn't like to be very, very, maybe rude to the likes we still have in ADC. But the weight they had before could not be the same. But there are things still left. When you ask, is there anything left? There is something left. But that thing left, has it the same weight it had before? The answer is no. That's the clear explanation.
So does it mean that the OB was the force that ADC wanted to use to go into the election?
I think if you go by metrics, social media, you can quietly say so. But the thing is, of course, like somebody was saying, that they wanted to use him to take glory. And he was so very dirty to the point that he has to maneuver, that it was a situation where likes of Atiku had perfected a lot of things, to rigmarole his way. But that's what happened. The truth is, if you judge by the last election, Atiku had some votes more than Obi, and Tinubu had a highest number of votes as declared by INEC. Now the question is, can things change? And we've seen the momentum. The question is, popularity will be tested. It's obvious, or it's likely, that Atiku will be the candidate of ADC. Obi will be the candidate of ADC. And Mr. President will be the candidate of APC. Now we are going to have the three of them again. Kwankwaso has just made alliance. Before now, we had four of them. Kwankwaso made them four. But Kwankwaso has moved to consolidate with Obi in NDC. We have three of them now. Popularity will be tested again. Okay. Not on social media, but on the polling units.
Okay, so let's go for this very commercial break. Once we return, we open the phone lines, take your call before we bring in another conversation regarding NNPC selling a deal to revamp Port Harcourt Refinery and the Warri Refinery. And people are asking questions, what are we fixing now after we had spent about $2.4 billion on in turnaround maintenance? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opriche Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Opriche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, with and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opricha Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Nebek Real Estate brings you opportunity that grow with you. Greenfield Estate, Oba. Just 1 minute from Owerri Road. King's Court Estate, Ibiza, opposite Admiralty University. Purity Garden and Classic Estate, Asaba. Just 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport. Ikenga Luxury Estate, Ojoto. 7 minutes to Electrical Dealers Market, Obosi. Nebek. Invest today, gain tomorrow. Visit us at 25 Oka Road, Onitsha, beside Mandela, or Asaba Office 21 and 22, Brain Oil Mall, 295 UDC Road, opposite Lion House, Asaba, or call us on 080-3265-7455 or 070-1607-8648 or visit us at www.nebekgroup.com.
Please listen to this important information on your good health. Do you know that many deaths nowadays are caused by ignorance on drug abuse? Do you know that many males and females now resort to the consumption of unhygienic concoctions for the treatment of various diseases? Do you know that some even take their lab results to traditional healers for interpretation? Now listen, abuse of scientific or traditional drug destroys the body system mechanism and it kills. Consumption of expired, adulterated, substandard and unpasteurized traditional herbal mixture could lead to health complications. So detoxification of the body and restoration of the functional organs is always necessary for your good health.
This message is sponsored by Anti-Drug Abuse Incorporated Headquarters, Annex Sunshine Hospital, number 4 Obanye Street, Onitsha, Anambra State, Nigeria. 08033206819.
Drug abuse is an enemy to your good health. Be warned.
Join Anti-Drug Abuse Health Education every Wednesday by 8:45 a.m. on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806-416-2374 or 0706-059-6203.
Hello. From the heart of Udala to your happy place.
Broadcasting live
from Anambra to diaspora, everybody sing up.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Udala they shine 24/7 with it online. If you look for better sound, tune in, make you no rewind.
Your day just got better right here.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 4.7 FM. You are listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Ebekatunoli Sambeki, on the analysis desk. And we have to open the phone lines now to entertain some calls before we bring you a short analysis on that plan to revamp Port Harcourt and the Warri Refineries through a deal with Chinese firm, or rather Chinese firms. 08032216973 or 08038276694. Let's get to talk on these very issues we have this very morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. It's Tony. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning,
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody in the house. It's me, Jide Obianozie. I am calling from Mumbo.
Go on, Jide.
Thank God that Igwe has now resettled himself. I wish the state government would have handled him the way he does. He has not settled himself. Again, he should create elections to Igwe Gibson. No one else except Igwe Gibson. Secondly, let's talking about people be fighting over which system. You fight over a system that is working. Which judicial system is working in Nigeria? Where we should fight for? Okay, in 2023, for no years, there are people who won this election. All the evidence is provided in the court. What did the court use to do? What is happening now? What are they doing? Yeah, you should, I don't understand what that is saying. You should know what it's saying. Because Nigeria is not working. There's nothing working in Nigeria. Okay, look at what happened in the agency. Why did he have to be left? He left because there's corruption in the agency. And he has seen where this is heading to. That they want to deny him of protesting. That's why he went to the party from the former Vice Governor. That's why he went there. They said, and we're following him. Because Nigeria doesn't want, there are people on Nigeria's situation. They don't want Nigeria to be better. They said, look at somebody like Ajo. What is Ajo talking about? Mr. Tony has said it wrong. What is he trying to say? What is that to do? Because as a matter of fact, this is about money. He wants to collect his own money so that he will come inside. That's why he came out. He wants to collect his own money so that he will go inside.
All right.
I don't see why he's talking.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jide, for joining. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you. Your name?
I am Goodin Izapakego, cruising the airwaves from Osimo.
Go on, team.
Yes. Mr. Do, who is going to appeal whatever he's going to appeal. I mean, that man is confused. But then, we are not looking at confused cases. He should go and collect his clothes from where he got bettered. NDC has been registered through courts. How do you go into courts? The judgment already given by courts. By the court, how do you start obeying? How then is he going to the court to make an appeal against an expired drug? Of course, if he goes there and mentions NDC, he should be shamed and made to pay heavily for ignoring the potentialities of the court. Away from that, I want to give credence to what former deputy to PDP said. Our deputy should add more bite to his life. This cost good luck Jonathan. His tenure. Trying to be gentleman in everything. Yes, Trump warned the whole world. Rig 2027 election and I will capture you. That is the status of a warrior, a politician. That is, you should be so rugged,
okay,
very, very frightful to your opponents. I want to encourage people to learn that hard way. No matter what, you cannot go to fight a lion wearing camouflage or this thing. You have to put on your armor.
All right.
Nigeria is a very complex place. You have to be complex too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Playing. Who doesn't?
Thank you. You had exceeded your time. Hello, good morning. Hello. Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. Good morning. This is Engineer Zulu calling from Oka.
Go on, Engineer.
Tony, as usual, I use the subtleness to the market. Obi has never been popular. Ojugu, this. Obi flew his ticket as opposition when PDP was holding sway in Anambra State. It is true tenor. So it shouldn't be all those every time trying to market him softly.
Oh, hold on.
If Africa wants to
hold on,
have
engineer.
officials,
Hold on, engineer, can you hear me?
To it. Then coming to
can you hear me, engineer?
Ahmed. There's something hypocrisy in his statement. He was standing with Obi, later he declared with Abure. Now those that are using Abure have not seen any need of him again after Obi left. Now the person who will be nominated for the chairman has been recognized. He doesn't have any say in Labour Party. Now he cannot go back to Obi. Now he's trying to play the good guy. He should spare Nigerians of all that. Thank you.
All right. So, Engineer Zugo, can you hear me? Okay. So, I wanted to ask Engineer Zugo because he said Tony demarketed Obi. So, I wanted to know what he meant by demarketed. Is it the question about whether he has faced any contest within party structure or what? Because so, if you are hearing me, we would like to know because it would be good for you to specify what you meant by that. We are going to appreciate that if you can come in again. Hello, good morning.
Thank you, Franklin.
Yes.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
This Monday, Johnson. I don't think I have much, but I think some of the analysis Tony made about it to be political and precedent. I, to some extent, will agree with him. Especially where he cites that people have not contested primary election in various parties. But I want to know, Tony, are you in any way trying to insinuate that the major reason why people left ADC is because they was afraid of contesting primary in ADC? This I want to know because the way you analyze it, presently, I was somehow lost because I was thinking that the major reason was because of several litigations hanging around ADC. But the way you actually analyze his political journey, it's like I'm lost. Is the reason why he left? Are you trying to say it's because he was afraid of contesting primary in ADC? Good morning.
Okay, good morning. So, Tony, take note. We're going to address that. And there's something people are even putting out, about this very issue of changing parties. You know that Engineer Baribe has left ADC for Labour Party. For those Anambra lawmakers, we are watching to see how they are going to move. Uchenna Harris Okonkwo representing them in the South, he has already left and joined ADC. But the likes of Tony Moye and co, we're still watching them. Now, there's something people are even saying about this movement because Obi left ADC to go into NDC. And in that NDC, he's going to meet a woman who sometime mocked him when that woman was on the side of Abure. I'm talking about Dayo Ekong. She was one time in Labour Party, and she was among those who derided Obi when this issue of who was the authentic chairman of Labour Party was happening. And now she is in NDC, where she is expected to work for the emergence of Obi. And this woman in question is the National Vice Chairman Southwest. So, with time, this is going to unveil how they are going to coalesce. Hello, good morning. Okay. Try again, 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, your name?
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Frank.
Good morning.
Antonio Lisambegi. My name is Maruki Shuka, calling from Onitsha.
You're welcome.
Well, monkey no fine, but in Mama like no matter how anybody is looking at Obi, that's for him pocket. What am I trying to say? Anybody who is attacking maybe for the second, you are not. In fact, you are. How will I put it? You are not a good. In fact, how will I put it now so that I will not be insulted? You don't want good for that young man. There is no defense anybody will hold of Obi defecting to NDC now that I will listen to. Look at ADC. The way all judgment is coming from right, left, center.
See what happened to the PDP. Just one court order that is not supposed to even stand. Court that even lack a jurisdiction. Now, to the Supreme Court, they nullified because of that order. Do you think that the 29th of last month order that Federal High Court gave about ADC is a nonsense order? As of now, that order has not been even put aside. And you want Obi to remain ADC. You don't want good for that young man. If you can tell yourself the truth, if you're Obi, what will you do? And I want to tell people, Obi did not decide because of the primary. Because when you talk about consensus, the whole contender must agree. If anybody who is contesting, even one did not agree, there will be nothing like consensus. You must go for that primary. So Obi did not decide because of article. Obi decided because of those court orders that is hanging, that may hurt you at the 11th hour. So people should leave this man alone. If you don't want to vote him, go and vote whosoever that you want. We don't even need your advice.
All right.
Obi made a very strong move.
Thank you.
The best one for that matter. And so many of us, like me, have rejected as well. Only that I didn't see where to submit my resignation letter. Everybody is now an NBC member. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Let's see who we have here. Hello. Good morning. Oh my goodness.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Your name?
Yeah, my name is Mr. Chikeze.
From where, Chikeze?
I'm calling from Benue.
Okay, go on, Mr. Chikeze.
Please let me tell you. Let us face the fact. Let us call a spade a spade. You see, P2B, the type of politics he's playing, he cannot afford to go into the type of primaries we do here. Most of Nigerian politicians see politics as a business, and they are ready to spend their last kobo to secure the ticket, hoping that when they get into office, they recoup, whatever they invested. P2B is not seeing politics that way. And that is why up to today, EFCC cannot have anything to, lock him up or, go after him. That's one. Then another thing is that the government in power is using all state resources to disorganize every opposition. So you do not expect a single man to stand and, settle any crisis in any party. Because the government in power is using state resources. They remove the subsidy in fuel, collecting the money, and still borrowing money to settle and plant people who will cause confusion in different parties. And now you expect one man to, out of his own pocket, to go and fight, the government. It is not possible. So what the man is doing, he's using his brain to make sure he gets into ballot paper. So people should not see this thing the way they are seeing it.
Okay, so just hold on.
Hold on. Highly intelligent man. I'm very close to that man.
Okay, hold
know
on.
What he's doing.
Hold on. I would like us to espouse this. So, do you think that if Obi becomes the president, he will be able to reform party system in the country, or you think that he can find a way to stay in the party and be able to engineer a change in party leadership that will share the same ideology with him?
Let me tell you. It's like, somebody that has jumped into a fast-flowing river and you are swimming against the current. You cannot do anything from outside. If the man has the opportunity to get into power, he knows all these, that the institutions, you do not build anything, standing on nothing. So the government in power has the army, the police, the court, the parliament, and all the financial resources, to cause disorder in all the parties. And you expect one man to stand and challenge them. And it is not possible.
All right.
So the man knows what he's doing.
All right. Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take one more call before we get to the the post we have on our Facebook page. Just one more call and then we're going to be there. Good morning. Okay. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
It's Chama calling from Onitsha.
Chuma, go on.
So what I'm saying is that people be leaving ADC is not because of primary election. There's one barrister, he's a lawyer that spoke in this radio on Saturday. He said he wants to be to leave for that party. There's still more problems in that party, in that ADC. Even Wike said it, that ADC still have more problems. So he's leaving, he lives for his seat, not even because of Atiko's primary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chuma. So let's get to our Facebook page. Obibe Kids Malenger, thank you for being there. Sabasana Igwe from Ugwabobosi. He says the statement as regards to Igwe's dethronement in Anambra State is really unfortunate. Is there anything like a dethronement here? He says, Tony, it's good for us to understand that Professor Chukwuma Soludo is our governor and he's trying his best. Now the question remains, is his best the best of all Anambrans? Look, the way and manner you do prepare the governor of being so magnanimous to the extent that some of the things he does, honestly, no one has the monopoly of knowledge. Okay, so but I'm confused about the statement you made about dethronement of an Igwe in Anambra State. I don't know the context you were coming from. More Doom Dominic from Japan. Okay, thank you for watching. Zepre Celestine says the truth is that P2B has made a name for himself and the Igbos in general, but what Dati Ahmed did not know was that Obi cannot change his political dynasty just because he wants to be Nigeria president. So I think he should move on with his political ambition and leave Obi out of this. However, Obi is not a man that can easily be bought over by any supposed political bigwigs, having been a political nightmare for both the president and the ruling party at large. And he says only the coming days shall determine who is who. Okay. Dr. Misimodo Olibara from Warri says other countries have such natural disasters as volcano, landslide, hurricane, earthquake, etc. But man-made bad governance has become Nigeria's worst disaster. Lives are being lost on a daily basis, and government is after 2027 elections. For how long shall this agony last? And she says the suffering in the land has become ghastly, and now it's time for action. And she says we have slept long too. Okay, we have slept too long. Rochato Biagui Kechku Christopher Abatan Sube says it's more glaring to Nigerians that P2B is the target of the ruling party. Ever wondered why they are they are trying anything possible to raise issues in any party he moves to? Why is president afraid of opposition if truly he is doing well as a president? And he says the president has most governors and government officials on his side, but he still will not rest and allow oppositions to be. Dede Chiadikobi says P2B and Kwankwaso alliance is a good development and they will go a long way in making the opposition noticeable, but it's going to be hard for them to be declared winner come 2027 unless the correction is made from INEC to the judiciary. Antonio Mera, thank you for watching from Zamfara State. Also Francis Omagan Namani watching from Mamagunsa in Enugu State. And he says the parent of Obi and the Kwankwaso is a new dawn for Nigeria. Christian Umunakwe says P2B, Obedience, and Kwankwasia haven't officially resigned from ADC. We would understand better when INEC releases the list of members of ADC submitted by Nephew Bala Gombe after the High Court judgment and that of NDC. Legal procedures are highly paramount and can be manipulated. So when you talk about list submitted by Bala Gombe, INEC did not at any point recognize him as a chairman, so there's no way INEC would have accepted any list or any membership register from him. Eke Gona says Obi needed the presidential ticket badly, and he thinks that ADC wouldn't offer it to him. Maasi Ngori Chukwadoro says Mr. B's defection, I see nothing wrong in Mr. B's defection because politics is full of personal interest and favor. He posted from Odabu Gregory Thaddeus says whether anyone likes it or not, when Mr. P2B is on the ballot in 2027, he will win the election again. And this time around, they cannot steal his vote, and the victory will be for Nigeria. And Promising says, I'm seeing our brother P2B as an apostle, but let him know that any party he joined, we will join him. And Ekegonas and Chigozie K, Basha, and others, we thank you for your comments. Certainly, we have a question, right? So we have to address that very question. Which is the question that was put out, that was asked by, I think, Monday Johnson. He was asking things. So I think let's start from there.
I guess Monday Johnson was actually asking if I think that why you'll be defected was because of primaries, or I was just talking about his political trajectory. I think the question was about a statement made by Abdullahi, where Abdullahi made a very statement that he had wanted the presidential ticket to be served to him a la carte. And I think, Franklin, you asked, has he fixed any serious primaries? I think that was the question, not in tandem with what, because you told me what Abdullahi was saying. And I said, I don't know what he's saying. But what I know is if he has faced any serious primaries in his political trial, I said, no, he hasn't. And I read out the facts. These facts are incontrovertible. The facts I read out, if you have any, I'm not in any way marketing anybody. It's not my job. But question you asked me, has he fixed any serious primaries? That was the question. Okay, you wanted me to answer, yes, he has. I lied to the people. I won't lie to please you. And that question was direct. And direct answer was expected. And I answered it and reeled out the facts. So I wasn't looking at the question from why he left NDC. That was not the question. Why he left the NDC was not the question. The question was, has he faced any serious primaries? And I answered that question. Most time we understand how question comes. I'll start for many exams. And I know when question comes in this way, the context it comes, we must answer questions based on the context it comes. So the point is to tell the people the truth.
So Tony, how do we now change this system of policy that Obi is running away from? Because people are saying you cannot fight over okay, that's the way they put it. That's that, you can only fight about what is working, that you cannot fight what is not working. So this system of cash and carry politics we do here, every party does that. So if we're going to change it, where is the change going to come from?
It could be miraculous. Because one thing we know about our primaries, before now, direct and indirect primaries, we've been using indirect primaries in most occasions, and we've seen where these primaries are dollarized. Delegates cash in. In fact, there was a day I was listening to the governor of Anambra State. He said a young boy was asked, what would you like to be in the future? Do you know what the young boy said? According to the governor, he said he would like to be a delegate. You know what that means? For you to be a delegate, it means that the aspirants will settle you and you make money, you cash in from their settlements. For a young boy to say he would want to be a delegate, it tells you more about the kind of politics we play here. And during this period, some party officials, a poor Ebidogo season Ebidogo, Kaizo season, no season Kaino now. You know what that means? They are not concerned about the service, the work that will be rendered. They are concerned about what comes into our pocket. And it's not a good development if you ask me. This catch and carry politics we play here is something must be addressed. We must strengthen institutions. I have said it many times. In the United States of America, they have a Federal Election Commission, FEC, and it addresses spendings. Political parties should not be managing their campaign expenses. There is a body, and that body, the head of that body should not be appointed by the president. It is something political parties must reach a consensus and decide within themselves who's going to be that. We must restrict the appointment made by the president, especially when it has to do with each year of election. All the electoral bodies or any institution that has to do with election shall not be appointed by the president to ensure neutrality in affairs of politics in this country.
All right. So on that very note, we are going to end today's conversation. However, I want you to ponder on this. What is going to become where we now have, for instance, we have a governor who believes that contest should be fair, open to everybody. And that governor decides to look for a like mind that believes in reformation and makes the person, party chairman, get other like minds, put them in party executive. Would that be able to engineer that kind of change we are looking for in our party system? Because whatever we have now as a messed up system begins from party system. On that very note, we thank you for this very program, and tomorrow we are going to be here. Thank you, Tony. And I ask you to stay with us because we have other programs lined up for you and listening pleasure today. And my name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.
A city of movement. A city of trade. A city of heritage. From the rays of the sun to the radiant glow of the river Niger. From the echoes of Ose Market to the silent prayers rising from the basilica. This city beats like a drum, loud, proud, and unyielding. And the drum finds its rhythm right here on Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Adobe no go, nene no de daño na mo kenelo.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Before the bridges came, before the city stretched its arms to the sky, there was a voice carried by the great Niger, whispered in the winds that danced through the Obunike caves. A voice that told the stories of kings, traders, warriors, and dreamers. That voice still speaks. That voice is us.